Today we're going to be doing a training on the ULV Fogger. It's called the Cyclone ULV Fogger. This is the Cyclone ULV Fogger. Before we get started, make sure that when always using any type of pesticides that we have your personal protective equipment such as safety goggles, long sleeve shirts, shoes and socks, and chemical resistant gloves on as such that we have here. So today we're going to be talking about the Cyclone ULV Fogger. This is mainly going to be used for cockroach services. It is an add-on service. This does not replace any existing services that we currently are providing for the customer, but it is an add-on service that we charge a little bit extra for. So I just wanted to kind of go over it, talk about the pesticide that we actually use with the fogger, the mixture rates, and any type of preparation needed for the customer and for you before we start the service. So first start out with any type of preparation that we need to have done. When using the ULV Fogger, the customer needs to have all food that is unsealed taken out of the house and put into an area that is not going to be fogged, such as a garage, maybe outside. They can put them into the refrigerator or any type of sealable containers such as Ziploc bags or Tupperware containers. Anything else that's exposed, such as bags of cereal, nuts, fruits, anything that's just kind of out in the open does need to be removed from the premises. The customer does not need to remove their dishes, but they could either remove the dishes and place them in an area that we're not fogging, or they can leave them inside the area that we're treating and have to wash them before any type of use. So that would be all utensils such as forks and knives and spoons, plates, bowls, and cups, or any type of cooking utensils. So make sure you talk to your customer before you set up any type of fog treatment to decide which one would work best for them. Before starting the fog treatment, the other thing that you have to do is remove any type of smoke detectors. Now, there are carbon monoxide detectors that do not need to be removed. It will mention on the detector itself that it is a carbon monoxide detector and not a smoke detector. So that needs to be taken care of before any type of service is done. Check all the rooms, make sure that none of them are connected. Some of them are just battery powered, so all you have to do is remove the battery. What I do is I go ahead and remove the smoke detector, take the battery out, and leave it close to the place that we removed it from. Other ones are actually hardwired into the house. You actually have to remove the wires, make sure that it's no longer connected to the hard wire, and you can reconnect it once you're done doing the fogging and everything has been cleared out. The only problem about that is if the smoke detector goes off, it's going to go off for a long period of time. You're going to be listening to a loud noise for a while. In rare cases, but it can happen. I actually did one where a smoke detector went off that we missed, and it actually called the security company. The lady was luckily there and was able to go ahead and disarm it, no problem, but make sure that all that's taken care of. Last thing you want is the customer to be gone from the premises and the security company have the cops come out or the fire department. So make sure all those are disconnected. This is a water-based product. We use Riptide, so you don't have to worry about any type of pilot lights being lit. So any type of older style stoves, water heaters, anything that might have some type of pilot light, this will not ignite it. Because of it being a water-based product, you don't have a problem with that. So that's really nice in this situation. So once you got ahead, make sure that all the windows and doors are closed. Make sure that there's no airflow through there. Part of the fogging treatment is making sure that it gets a nice contained area to where the fog can do its work. In this situation, what you actually do is the Riptide, well, we've been putting them into what these are called tip and pours. The Riptide actually comes in a half-gallon container, but there's no way to really measure it well. This you can actually see it's measured by fluid ounces. And the mixture rate that we suggest that you use is 10 parts water to 1 part pesticide. So in the easiest way to do it, most houses actually take about 1/4 to a half a gallon of diluted treatment to treat the whole house. And you can see here on the side, this actually has a mark showing you how much is inside there. It goes from the 1/4 gallon, half gallon, 3/4 gallon, and 1 gallon. So I generally mix about a half gallon for a regular size house. If you're only fogging one room, such as just a kitchen and maybe a couple bathrooms, you might want to go ahead and do it at the 1/4 gallon amount. But just to make it really simple, what it ends up doing with Riptide, it's a half a gallon. 1 full gallon of pesticide is 128 ounces of ingredient inside there. So a half a gallon is 64 ounces. So the easiest way to do that, if you're going to do a half-gallon treatment, is if it would be 10 parts water to 1 part pesticide, it's 6.4 ounces of pesticide to a half of a gallon of Riptide. So what you end up doing is you just mixture on here. Usually the highest amount that you have is 4 ounces, so you'd probably just go ahead and do 4 ounces and then 2.5 ounces. You pour that into, right here on the Cyclone, you can actually see there's a part in the back here that just untwists and it has a big opening. As you can see, this is where the pesticide goes inside there. So what you do is you fill it up with a little bit of water first, not the full amount, maybe 1/8 of a gallon. Go ahead and then use your tip and pour. Mix as much pesticide as you need there. For example, that would be 2 ounces. Go ahead and dump it in and do it until you get 6.5 ounces. Obviously, if you're going to do a quarter, you'd use 3 1/4 ounces of pesticide. 3 1/4 might be a little hard. It's okay if you did 3 1/2. It can actually be diluted at a higher rate, but that would be the minimum rate, is 6.4 ounces per half gallon. So just make sure that you keep that in mind. 10 parts water to 1 part pesticide. I'm actually going to go ahead and when I get a chance, there's a label that I'm going to put on the side here that actually mentions that, so you'll see it on the equipment that we use. We do have 3 of these foggers, 1 in each one of the offices, so 1 here in Escondido, 1 in Anaheim, and 1 in Temecula. Make sure that when you go ahead and set up a job, that you make sure that the fogger is going to be available. If there's already another job set for that time and day, that might be kind of difficult to get it to you. So make sure that you check with whoever you're setting up the job with that this will be available for you to use. Now the process of actually treatment is very simple. Once you have everything cleared out, the food's taken care of, the dishes are either cleared or the customer knows that they need to wash them after, you've gone ahead and removed all the smoke detectors or at least disabled them. That is when you would mix the chemical inside here. Once you got the chemical mixed, it's very simple. It's powered through electricity. You go ahead and plug this in. On the top here is the knob where you switch it on and off, and it has a mark showing that it's off. If it goes towards the handle, that's off, and then towards where it comes out, that's on. And it's just as simple as a switch. I already have it preset as far as like how much it will come out. There is a little dial here that you'll see on the side that you can actually adjust to have it come out more or less depending on what you need. But I have preset these at the amount that we would normally use for any type of treatment. Once you actually turn it on this side here, this is where you would actually be able to change it to change the levels of the angle that you're going to actually be shooting it at. Generally, you're going to shoot it at a higher angle, aiming up towards. They suggest the way that you do it is in this situation, you would face it up towards the ceiling and face it towards a corner. You usually keep it about 10 feet away or so from the corner, and then face it up to where it would then shoot into a corner. What that does is it disperses the fog throughout the whole room. Usually it takes a smaller room about 2 to 3 minutes. For say a bathroom might take about a minute and a half. Regular sized bedroom, 2 to 3 minutes. You get into a lot longer of a period when you have kitchens, such as ones that are kind of disconnected or connected to another room, such as a living room or a dining room. In that case, you're going to want to fog the whole area. You'll generally need to make sure that you're wearing a respirator also when using this. I don't have my respirator on in this situation because you wouldn't be able to hear me very well. But it is necessary to use a respirator when using this. You do not want to be breathing this in. That is actually what's causing the insects that you're treating in this situation, cockroaches, to come out of their hiding spots. You can actually aim this also towards areas, so if you pull out a refrigerator, you can aim this down and aim it towards the bottom of the refrigerator or behind a stove or specific cabinets that you know that you're seeing a lot of activity. So it doesn't always have to go just right up into the corner of the room. You would actually even spray into areas that you're seeing the activity. Pull out the stove, pull out the refrigerator, open up all the cabinets. Make sure that you open up everywhere so that it can penetrate really well. Usually takes about 10-15 minutes before you'll start seeing activity, but after a little bit of time you'll actually start seeing them come out. They're kind of twitching, they'll actually be crawling all over the place. It works really well. It doesn't take long to do the actual treatment, and while you're doing it, there's not really much you can do in between, so you're just going to kind of monitor it, keep track of what's going on, keep an eye on everything. So the fogger itself is very simple. You can move it while it's still on, but generally when you want to move it, you go ahead and switch to the off position, move it to the next room, turn it back on. and it'll do it. It's somewhat loud. It's not too loud to where you have to wear any type of ear protection, but it is somewhat of a loud noise that it makes. I'm not going to turn it on here because there is a little bit of pesticide still inside here. I don't want to be fogging inside the office right now. People aren't prepared for that. So once you're done treating all the rooms that you have set to treat, you actually need to leave the area sealed up for at least 30 minutes. You can go longer if you needed to, but 30 minutes is the minimum amount. At that point, you would go ahead and just go out, wait in your trucks, sit on the outside. Make sure that nobody enters the premises. I've said in the past that maybe you can leave and go do another job and come back, but I don't suggest that, just because if there were somebody that were to come, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's somebody that didn't realize that there's going to be fogging it, that they walk into the house and they get a nice whiff of this. The good thing is this is not a fumigant. This is not something that would kill them on contact, but it is very dangerous. Somebody could have an allergic reaction to it. Somebody could get very sick from it if they were to breathe in too much of it. So it's definitely not something that you want to have anybody getting inside there while you're fogging. So I suggest you stay on the premises to make sure that nobody gets inside there. Once you've done that, go ahead, go back in after half an hour, open up all windows and doors. If you're going to be leaving the house locked at the end, make sure that the front door is locked, make sure that any type of doors aren't left open, but go ahead and open up all the windows. I suggest about 2 to 3 hours time to let it air out. Let the customers, if you want to be safe, go ahead and say 4 hours after the time you leave. So if you end up calling the customer right when you're done, now that you've gone ahead and done the fogging, and open up all the windows and door, give them a call and say, okay, 4 hours from now you're okay to come back in. 2 or 3 hours is probably going to be good enough, but just to be safe. We don't want anybody calling up saying that they got sick from the pesticide. This does not leave any type of residual chemical behind. Once it's cleared out, the fog is dissipated, it is no longer anything that is going to be killing any type of insects. So that is something to keep in mind when doing the fog treatment, that some type of residual treatment has to be done, whether before or after this is done, so that there is some type of long-term residual, generally also with an IGR. I suggest this actually be the last treatment that you do, but you can kind of decide what you want to do as far as in your 3 visits. You can add it as a 4th visit if you wanted to. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to give me a call at any time. I'm going ahead and filling up as many of these bottles as I can, sending them out with Frank for anybody that's not here at the office. I want to make sure that everybody keeps rip tight on their truck. That way, once you get the fogger, you don't have to try to scramble and find the pesticide also. You already have it on your vehicle. I'm usually going to fill it up maybe about half or 3/4 away, because you're not going to use that much of this all the time. You should have enough. And I'll have Frank keep some on his truck. And we'll also keep some here at the office. That way, if you need to refill at any time, you can go ahead and just refill it instead of finding a new bottle. Again, if any of you have any questions, please feel free to call me or even send me out an email. I could even go out with you to a job to show you on hand, but maybe another day we'll do a fog treatment where we actually show you how to do the whole process firsthand. All right, thank you. Have a good day.